Welcome back to episode 2, Unlearning, Using AI to Solve School-Based Problems. I am your host, Jasmine Fusilier-Jeffries, and I'm here with Langston and Asta. Langston was in our first episode. He was sharing all about his great work around his app and tool that he built in the classroom. Asta's doing the same thing. She's here today, though, to give a different lens of transitioning from corporate, where she used AI, to now education, where she continued to use AI. So welcome to the both of you. We are super excited to be here today to continue that talk of how we are using AI in the classroom, but now, in addition to that, the impact that it made on you as a teacher and then on your students. So let's dive in. And before we do really get into the weeds today, we're going to play a quick game. Y'all ready for that?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's do it. So the game is called Fix That Prompt.
Fix that prompt. Okay.
Y'all have been learning to prompt throughout our whole year.
Yes.
So we're going to put those skills to the test. So let's grab a board.
Okay.
Grab a marker. School is in session, y'all, on a Saturday.
On a Saturday. I thought Saturday school was over with.
Exactly. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to receive a prompt.
Okay.
Your job is to enhance that prompt.
Okay.
So think about the skills that you've learned and apply that here. The prompt is very basic. Make it spicy.
Okay.
All right. First prompt is help my students catch up. Put your skills to the test. How would you enhance that?
And my marker is not working.
Oh, great. That's okay. Should have tested that out, right?
I could just say the prompt out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Yep, it's not working.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wing it.
That's that. You know what? That's I think what we're good at as educators. When things
We
don't
have
work, we
to.
can pivot, right?
Yeah, we're like, who needs the whiteboard? Just toss it out.
Exactly. Okay. Take about 10 more seconds here. And then Asa, I'm going to have you go first.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. What did you say to enhance your prompt?
So we're doing a new unit based on the Holocaust for 8th grade. The idea about the unit is that you need to know about Holocaust and Hitler because you cannot forget the past. It's also testing a lot of standards and techniques, for example, author's purpose, paraphrasing, summarizing, and text evidence. So there's a student who's been absent for this whole week. So far, we've been discussing how Helene Mayer was treated by Nazi Germany in 1936. So I want the student to be caught on to what was happening in the Olympics as Nazi Germany was focusing on their propaganda and what they're trying to say to the world. So help my student catch up.
Okay. Love that. Langston, what about you?
I need to add some more stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did general basics. So
Yeah.
I did 8th grade U.S. history, review, Civil War, which was a topic. I want my prompt to add teaks for 8th grade and then specific to U.S. history.
Okay. Okay. I love that. Now, we're going to get at why we did this in just a moment, but let's do the second prompt.
Okay.
The second prompt is plan a fun activity. What might you do? Let's say if you were going to put this into ChatGPT, if you will. How would you enhance that?
Definitely
Plan a
have
fun
weird
activity.
sounds. Some of my kids into sounds.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Rocket just launched after I got my mission completed. I'm like, all right. All right, we'll add that in.
Love that. Langston, I'm going to start with you this time when
All right,
we share.
so I probably would do Q Chat or Claude, fun activity game, 8th grade, again, specific 8th grade teaks for U.S. history.
Okay.
Probably 8th grade, we have 90-minute sessions, so I'd say maybe 45 minutes of the game, and then add review.
Okay. Also, what do you want to add?
I would do something like maybe take a unit that they love the story of because I teach ELA. So it's like, Romeo and Juliet. Help my students kind of learn the story by picking and choosing and creating like almost like a script. Like Juliet walks in, Romeo put his lines in place, and then make the scene play out in front of them. So they were like, I created the scene, but I made Juliet say that he was a frog instead of she's the sun.
Okay.
So I think the kids would enjoy that fun activity.
Okay, so let's talk about what we just did here.
Okay.
Right, because I heard you name specifics. I heard you bring in what students like. How does that help enhance prompting skills? What did you add in that you think by doing that would give you a better output?
I think it's just more specifics. Again, it's a prompt. So the more information you feed it over time, the better it becomes. So if you start, like I've been prompting for so long that the system almost knows me. And so it could pick back up on something that I might have put in like 4 months ago for like a teak or a question or something like that.
Right. So
it's just learning that as long as you're feeding the prompt with specifics, then it's learning you, and your tool is learning how to process what you want the information to give back.
Yeah. And those specifics for you were the actual grade, the actual teak that
grade, teaks, and grades, teak, and subject. Those are every time grade, teaks, and subject. Specific, because U.S. history is still in high school, so I need 8th grade information.
Yes, love that. So, what about you?
Piggybacking off of what Langston said, those are like the bread and butter. I would say you have to put like the ABCs for it to know what it's doing, because not like 4th grade, it's 8th grade for both of us.
Yes.
Right.
But I think the other piece is that I sometimes put in the personality. Like, I know this class is not going to interact much. So I'm going to have them do their fun stuff in there.
Yes.
Or like this class is going to be overly interactive. So they need to like work as a team or do something. So I feel like putting in what the kids like, they like Roblox. They like these other games, and some kids are into anime. So I can put in those little references. Even like with my anchor charts, I had similar stuff. They're like, Miss, you know what goop is? I'm like, goop. And they're like, the aura, right? So that little vibe you can kind of feed into it, because 8th graders they're still kids. They still want their candy, but they're also really smart. They want to connect with you. So I think that piece is what will complete our prompt to customize it to the kids.
Yeah. Both of what you said is very rich, right? And then what I noticed in both of your examples, you all did the heavy thinking, the heavy lifting, the heavy prompting, right? So as we continue today, those are some of the things that you have learned in being a part of the AI group, and what has led to the impact that you're making in your classes. But the thing that I also want to hit the nail on the head is AI is just a tool. I recently heard someone say AI is the sizzle, not the steak.
Oh, that's a nice way of putting it.
Isn't that
That's
funny?
a nice way of putting it.
That's a nice way of putting it, right? So that goes to say, you all are the steak. You all bring the flavor. You all bring the skills. You all bring just the background knowledge. And so when you put it into ChatGPT, Canva AI, it's going to be that much richer.
It's kind of like we're the chef, and that's the cooking utensils in the kitchen, basically.
Bingo.
Right? You're in the kitchen, but you're still there.
Yeah, and I think that's why AI is so misunderstood. We're still the tool. It's a tool, but without our influence, it's just another system.
Correct. Okay. So now let's really dive in. Like I said, today we're here to talk about impact, right? Impact that you've made in the classroom, and then what you've seen in your students as a result of the tool that you've designed. So Langston, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
As an educator, what did your tool actually do for you? So before you dive in, just remind us of what your tool name is and then what you designed it to do.
I designed Professor Story is the tool name, and I designed it because majority of my students are EB based, emergent bilingual. So the struggle for me was, how could I connect for them learning and really understanding the material as a whole? And so by me using that, building that tool allowed me to actually kind of allow my students to be able to understand from the English and Spanish perspective. And it also still helped my English students as well, because that same information was there.
Yes.
And so the main thing for me was to allow the parents to be able to also kind of tap in to what the kids are doing. If they're having a test or something's going on, the parents that may not speak the language are able to actually have those conversations with their students as well.
Okay.
So that was like my main focus.
Yeah. So what did that tool do for you just as an educator?
I mean, for me, it takes the stress off, because as an educator, we want our students to learn. We get into this business to teach and for our students to learn. So for me to be able to build something that could help my students in the long run was very important to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of takes the weight off a little bit. Again, it's a system and it's a tool, but if you put the right information in, the proper information, that your kids are getting the right information, not just something that they can plug in on Google or YouTube or something like that. They're actually getting factual, historical information, and that's important too.
Yeah. And I think that also speaks to your values and what we talked about last time. And so I'm glad to see that while you designed it for your students, you're actually benefiting from it as well.
100%.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Talk to me a little bit about the skills that you've learned as being a part of the pilot. We saw prompting. You're a prompter now. You know how to do the thing.
I was really skeptical of AI. And I think it was initially when we first, when we got with TFA, prior to us ever meeting in a group, we had like little exercises we were doing. And part of that, one of those items were like build an AI bot, right? And so you're like, okay, we're going to build this bot.
Yeah.
How's it really going to work? And so once you take that little step, it's like, man, this thing could really change, not even for you, but just for students or anybody learning. And so for me to take that back was like, okay, I'm not as skeptical as I was, but then as we're learning and as we're going through, you just learn that it's a bot, but you're training it. It's not going to do any more or less than what you give it.
Yes.
And so you think that it's taking away from the human nature, but you still need a human to apply it.
Yeah.
And so that's like the biggest takeaway that I got was the more information as a human that I fed my system for my students, the more information they were getting and the more information I was getting, but the information was factual.
Yeah.
And then just to see, my students was like, Mr. Dill, you built this, like this is your thing. And so it's kind of like you built this for us. And so they take pride in saying, hey, Mr. Dill really cares about us, that he took time to build something that we can utilize.
Yeah.
And it's fun because you say, hey, try to break it. So when I first introduced it, it was like there were different things. So, kids, they're 8th graders. They're going to try to put in incorrect prompts. They're going to try to, so I was like, hey, put in whatever you want. Yeah. And, to help me security purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it was really great for them and for me. So we're all learning the system. Because if it's something they didn't get, okay, that as a teacher, okay, let me go back. That prompt didn't work. Let me go back and channel something else to see if that'll help.
Yeah.
And so as a year went on, it's both. We're tag teaming. Students are learning, I'm learning, and we're both learning together.
I love that. So I'm hearing that AI didn't replace you.
Oh, not at all. No.
It sounds like it created more opportunity, though.
Definitely so.
Okay. Still sticking with you, Langston. Asta, we got you up next. Let's talk about the students. Okay. And I want you to go in depth here with giving data around. You built this tool, right? And you designed it in a way to help students. What was the impact there? And give us some percentages around what you're seeing as it pertains to student learning.
For us, especially my grade level, it was kind of difficult in the beginning. I didn't realize as a new teacher coming in, the data was everything lives and breathes by data.
Yes. And my data girl over here.
I'm not a numbers person. So for me, it's like, why is it that serious?
Yeah.
But as you're going through the data and you're learning your kids, you're learning what questions they're missing, what they're not, it's important. So for me, to see those minor increases, to go from like 27% to 30%. And then our goal as a whole is to be like 35. So I'm really waiting and excited to see what the STAR results are going to be because I know my kids got that extra push that we needed. So to see the data increasing and more students learning, from the 26 to 27% to the 30%, those numbers may be small, but they're huge as a whole. Yeah. Because they're looking at that and taking pride in like our particular 8th grade with our school, social studies, the level last year wasn't as great. Yeah. And so now that, our district is looking at us and like, what are y'all doing over there? Like, why are y'all's numbers looking how they're looking? Yeah. And we're all of us are new teachers to that particular school.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so you have all 3 new teachers coming in, don't know each other, teaching, we're learning, but why are our numbers increasing versus other people? Yeah. And I think that having that tool really helps. Again, when majority of students are EB, you have to give them something else to help them learn. And so that was very significant for me.
Yeah. And kudos to you, like you said, whether it's a big jump in percentage that you see or a small jump, it adds.
Yes.
Right. And I think that is very powerful in and of itself. And then I'm also hearing just the excitement of the experience from you as the educator learning, but then as your students feeling like you took the time to give them something different to help them learn. I know that's right. Asta, come on, talk to us. So transitioning just a little bit here, you've already had experience with AI from your corporate world. Bring us into what the transition was like where you left corporate using AI to now knowing you're coming into education where there's an opportunity to use AI. What was that like?
So first, like on the surface, it's very like, oh, there's going to be no AI in schools, right? Students should not be using AI. I don't know what the teachers know. A lot of the teachers, I keep hearing this. I'm not a math person. It's like, plus you have a lot of veteran teachers who do stay. So that's a lot of like, these are some of the differences. The more veteran you're, like 20 plus years, these guys are going to be like, oh, I don't know. This is another new technology. I don't know how to use it. But in corporate, it was like, it was more like it's not defined that you can use it or you could use it. But everybody was like, oh, let's just get our like fingers in. But it was more focused on, in my experience with my company, it was more like, oh, we could use, to make our document a little bit faster, make it more clean, maybe get an insight on something, maybe like create like a plan for our team. These are the specifics. Now just like complete the bullet points. So it was like still us doing the heavy lifting, but nobody really knew how to use it exactly. And then I got an AI project, and my role was to like train the AI to be able to answer the prompts for like the people.
Okay.
And then now when I go back, I was like, that's where I was like cut off. But now when I go back, I see a lot of the websites, when you go and try to like prompt it in, it's like, it doesn't answer you. You're asking very simple questions like, how do I reimburse myself from my HSA account? It's like, sorry, I don't understand the prompt.
Okay.
No, repeat it. So I know that there it's like a training gap. So again, the whole human element is so out there. Like you still are in control. It's still just a tool, just like Langston was saying.
Yes.
And then coming to teaching, again, all these like misconceptions, teaching will misconceptions come in like, I can't do this. It's like cheating. What are you doing with it? There's no transparency. So I think those are some of the things that I've seen coming here, but it's more exciting because this is one field where you assume people won't be able to use AI,
Right.
but that's where we need to get the data in.
Yeah.
Like we have so much data and we're not using it, and we don't know how to crunch the raw data. And then we're like, we still need more data points. Get your data points in by Friday. It's like, who's using this? How are you using it? So I feel like that's where I saw the gap. Like I could come in, let's make it efficient. Teaching needs to be efficient, just like the corporate world. You're still here to make money, but the impact is so real, you cannot ignore it.
Very true. Very true. And something that I was thinking about as you were sharing was the expert, right? You are the expert in
Still know everything
your
best.
content. You are the expert in what it is that you are teaching your students. And so it relies heavily on you to still be able to fact check, right? So no matter what you're putting into your tool, you want to make sure the output is actually factual,
Definitely.
right? And so you got to be able to know what you're checking for. And so I love to hear you say that there were comparisons that you were able to bring in from your corporate world to teaching. And there are also some differences, but you can fill that gap.
I can.
Yeah, I love that. Talk to us about your students. What did they kind of understand AI to be? What were you able to teach them? And then what kind of surprised you when you first stepped in?
Well, the first things first, when I saw this, all those kids are playing like all those games and everything. A lot of the times I would hear like with 8th grade, right at the beginning, the boys were like, Miss, I can hack this. Miss, I can hack this. They're not hacking anything. They're just going in the settings. And I was looking at them like, that's not AI. You're not hacking it. And then even when they were like trying to reproduce it, it was funny.
Yeah.
So their understanding of technology was different. So when I ran like Canvas AI or some kind of programs through them, and I ran like surveys where it would like pop up with certain animations, they were like, Miss, did you make this for us? Just like Langston said, that impact is so strong that you could do this. And then they imagine the rest all like, you leave it to their imagination to think you're some kind of crazy, about to build like a startup type of thing. But that's where the fun is. Like they want to get involved and they kind of want to be able to be like, Miss, I can give you feedback. Miss, what if you made it like this? So they're really into it. Like you're tapping into the technology minds of this generation that cannot get off of their phones.
Yes.
But at the same time, they don't really know what's happening either. So it's like, are you going to be the person being led like by the shepherd? Are you the sheep? Or are you going to be the shepherd that's leading it? So with me, it was like I was telling them the reality of the situation. You're not going to be using AI to write all your essays in college.
Yes.
Because when you have your own businesses, you can't speak to the client.
Correct.
So that's how also I connected my corporate thing. Like your dad owns a business, but dude, if you cannot speak to me about your data, I'm not going to give you the seed money.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to blow the investment.
Yes.
So they need those skills, but it's not going to come from AI. AI is only something that can check them or help them get the background knowledge.
I love that.
So very, like, different pieces. And when it hits them in the reality, they're like, oh, okay, now I know how I can use it.
Yeah.
And then Miss created this. So how can I replicate it? Miss, can you teach me so I can do it in my project next? I'm like, all right, let's show you something.
Yes. So I was thinking about recently, in order for our students to be responsible users, you all have to be the builders first.
Yep.
Right. And you named that explicitly. They were excited about what you build. And then that led to their own analysis and inquiries around what it is that you did and how they can apply it in their real life. If you were to just give them a tool and just say, hey, use this, that's where like you said, Langston, they are going to do irresponsible things. Right. They're kids. They're curious.
Yeah.
Right. But if you build it and you show them how you built it, and then they are able on the back end learn it, then it's like, okay, that's that full circle moment where now I'm curious enough to try to do the same thing. Because they saw you as builders, they appreciated the build, and now they can learn from you. And so I just think about how powerful that is, because man, we don't want kids to just be on their phones or be on their laptops.
Just copy paste.
Copy paste. It won't do them any good.
No.
Right. And then also it's not really preparing them for the future of work either.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to go into ChatGPT and fully write something and then just
it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
Your mind.
Right.
There's no learning.
Right.
But there's learning when they see you as builders and they can see the behind the scenes. Right. Let's say, for instance, you were just even to use Canva. Yeah, they can see a tool that you created, but they don't get to see the background, like how you actually prompted it,
exactly.
how you actually added certain features.
And to write the prompt is where the ELA has to come in. I keep telling them, how are you going to write the prompt? You're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, miss, teach me how to write the prompt. And I'm like, here you go, text evidence, your pieces. What are you not missing? Bullet points. So it's like, whoa, that's like writing an essay. I'm like,
that's the connection I love to hear.
And we talk about students, but it's also adults. Even as teachers, a lot of teachers don't know that the technology even exists for them in their classrooms.
They're scared of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's go there, because this is where I think the conversation gets interesting is, what are we assuming about AI? And also you kind of touched on it a little bit as well. But what are we assuming? That's not actually true about AI.
I think first they're assuming that you need to code. You need to know Python and SQL, all this stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to know Python and SQL. The builders have already built the infrastructure behind it. Like my brother is actually like, his job is classified, but he's like training people in AI and he's got like coders under him. They're the ones building it in. They also have like their personality quirks because it's like an art when you're coding.
Yes.
But you don't need to go there. You are, again, it's a product that's been given to you. Now you use the product like it's a car somebody built. You're going to drive in a building that's on you. If you drive it properly, safely on the road, you can get from point A to point B. And that's what AI is. But people are busy being scared because it's like, is it going to replace me? It's not going to replace you in the same sense. It's an assistant as far as I see it. Like even when there was one time I was like running my calculations for algebra and slope and stuff like that through AI. And then it was like, it was calculating it wrong. I give feedback to ChatGPT. I'm like, what is this happening? But I also know that that's not the premium ChatGPT. The humans on the business side are building in inefficiencies into the system.
Yes.
So you're not getting everything right off the bat. You're not the government. They're not going to give you like exact answers.
Yes.
But that's where humans need to check.
Yes.
You have to go and check your data again and again. But on the other end, if you have like a whole Excel file with raw data, how do you get insights? It's going to take you hours and hours as a human.
Yes.
But run it through it. It's going to give you some things. So one example is I ran my STAR practice test, first data. I changed all the names. I took all of the you could like link it to the kids, all that information out.
Yeah.
And I ran it. And it was able to tell me your top 10 high masters are doing this.
Yeah.
Or these other kids, they're not able to get to masters because they're showing like, they're getting tired at the end. So their slope is like going down with how they're answering questions. That's not something I could have seen without putting in hours of effort.
Yeah.
That's why we need to bring in the teachers to see you don't need to be a coder.
Right.
You're using the tool, and prompting is one of the main things you do to be able to do it. And then you need to be able to check your data again.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something that you said too is really important. What people misunderstand is you don't have to put names, and you shouldn't put names. You shouldn't put any
data.
Yeah, that's confidential data. You shouldn't put any of that into your prompting or into your tool. And so, Langston, what are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Well, I think that a lot of times teachers think that it's cheating or it's like the easy way out. And as Asha said, it's an assistant, it's a support to teaching.
Yeah.
You can save time, you can save effort, and then there's some things that you don't necessarily think about. But again, it's all about prompting. It's the information in which you put in.
Yeah.
So how can a student cheat if you're putting in the information? And then the one thing I was learning as we were going and we were creating and we were meeting each week, you would give us tasks about different things to improve your bot, but then you have to put in those things. Okay, originally when I was building the bot, Professor Story would just give the student the answer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I was like, well, I need to build a system to where it's challenging them to find their own answer. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
bringing them back and then having them step in and say, okay, well, that's not the question. Try again.
Yeah.
Try again, without just giving them the answer up front.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it's building and it's learning that, hey, if you channel it in the right direction,
Yeah.
it's good for you and it's good for your students.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have older people that just, they're scared of technology.
Yeah.
Number one, they think it's going to replace, and they don't really realize
Mhm.
we're the human component behind any AI system that you're going to use. Whether you use it, whether you build it or you use something that someone else has built, it's
Yeah.
only as good as the information that you feed it.
Yes.
And I think that's the huge misconception is
Mhm.
that it's artificial humanality
Yeah.
when it's the human putting in the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's where their experience comes in place. Like Langston said, the
Mhm.
older generation, you know how to think. You know how your brain is when you have a passage and you have your questions. How are you looking at what information? Like I taught them skim and scan.
Mhm.
And I knew I'm looking for this information. Look for the date in the passage where it shows up. Read that passage area. You're going to get the background. That's
Yeah.
if you have like 30 seconds, maybe you can get that answer in.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
those skill sets or that experience is so good with the teachers.
Yes.
They know how to do their job well.
Mhm.
Yes.
But then you're still the one prompting it. So you're still teaching your AI to be able to go back to the students instead of giving them the
Right.
answer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're going to tell them like, this is how I prompt my student to think of the answer themselves. Like you do it,
Yes.
when you give feedback to the students,
Yep.
you're teaching it the same thing
Right.
to the AI. So it's an assistant.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yeah.
there's no point in being afraid of it.
Yeah.
You can use that experience to leverage exactly how you think,
Mhm.
but you might not be there for all 30 students.
Yes.
But the AI is going to be like, all right, you're on the right track. Think about this. What's a date? What's the sequence? What sort of comparison is this?
Mhm.
Those are just questions to lead them on to the answer
Right.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also that component of even your veteran teachers.
Mhm.
This is a different generation.
Yeah.
Like even for me being a first year teacher, I'm not going to say my age on camera, but I'm far removed from the
Yeah.
kids that I teach, my
Yeah.
students. And so that tool actually can help you, whether I'm building mine, but I can go into another tool and say, hey, I'm struggling with how to relate to
Yes.
Mhm.
13, 14, 15-year-olds or 12-year-olds.
Yes.
How can I take this information and relate it to them?
Yes.
And so it definitely could help veteran teachers as well. And kids know technology.
Mhm.
Most
Mhm.
of the kids that we're teaching, they were in third grade when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so our 8th graders are now from COVID, from third grade, they're what, 6, 7,
Mhm.
7 or 8
Mhm.
years old. So
7.
they've been using 6, 7.
It
So
had
they've
to.
been using
I
technology
had to.
for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
5 or 6
Mhm.
years, they've
Yeah.
been using technology.
Mhm.
Technology was forced on them
Yes.
because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so they're using it now. Now it's time to help them use it in a proper manner.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's not
Mhm.
a system where I could just go into Google and get the answer.
Right.
Mhm.
You still got to think.
Yeah. That's-
Keywords. You got to think
Yeah.
and you got a proper manner.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
It's just you
Bingo.
have to teach it to them because they're using it irresponsibly, but they're the primary users
Mhm.
who think they kind of are entitled to it.
Mhm.
They are like, oh, this is my world. This is I've been on the phone since I was in diapers.
Yeah.
Right.
Great, but how are you now going ahead of this other generation that did everything on paper?
Mhm.
But you have to be our future when it comes to thinking independently.
Yes.
Mhm.
Again, like you're going to be the sheep or you're going to be the shepherd.
Mhm.
I think with the corporate world, that's another insight that comes in. It's like,
Yeah.
when AI was hitting, everybody was like, all right, consulting is going to disappear
Mm.
because you can just consult with an AI.
Yeah.
You cannot.
No.
The people who are going to be there at the top are going to shrink.
Yes.
But at the same time, they're the ones who are using it to build their background knowledge. And like Langston was saying earlier, the skills. Like,
Yep.
I don't know how to speak Spanish,
Mhm.
but my AI does. And I'm going
Mhm.
to teach it to talk and teach the same thing I need to be taught.
Yes.
But you're still the content.
Mhm.
in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it can do what you're asking it. It's a super duper assistant, but
Yes.
what do you want it to do?
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And something that really shines through in what you're both saying is you have to just be willing to try.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And even if you're not using AI, as a first year teacher, you are willing to try a lot of different things to
Mhm.
support the learning of your students.
We
Right.
tried everything.
You try everything.
Crazy.
That's
Yes,
not working.
yes,
Let me
yes.
try this. That's not working. Let me try that.
Mhm.
Right. And this is just one of those that's or this
Yeah.
that you're
Right,
putting into
right.
the rotation of what's helping your students learn.
Right.
Another thing they would say in corporate, again, it's change management.
Yes.
People are afraid wherever there's change. And then
Yes.
a lot of the school districts, what we're seeing is a lot of resistance from leadership
Mhm.
to be able to adopt it. But you have to adopt it. The kids are going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that now is the time, right? Just
Yes,
being
definitely.
able to even have the conversation about it is a start.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm appreciative too of our space now where we can just have fluid dialogue around what our experience is. It's not the experience of everybody else. And if they are on different levels of understanding or willingness to try, I think just hearing from people who are doing it could also elevate, well, maybe I should just
I think you're trying, what's the worst that could happen? It gives you a stupid answer back and you're like, all right, I'm just going to close it. I'm going to go back to my life.
And it could also make you think, how do I make this better?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And more people are using it. I was surprised at the number of teachers that were using it,
Yeah.
not necessarily in the classroom
Mhm.
for their students, but just for themselves, just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we use AI every day.
Yes.
You know,
Ask a question.
Google
Yes.
Maps.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
All of that is AI.
Yes.
Or you want to learn something, it's AI.
Mhm.
You're going to
Yeah.
try to fit. And then, AI is a system, but like you said, it's no greater or worse than whatever you're putting into it.
Yep.
People are using it for resume building,
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
And so it's just like channeling it in the right space in the
Bingo.
right time.
Like
Bingo.
comparing, if I want to go have coffee and find boba, it's
Yeah.
going to compare to restaurants or whatever where I want to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go and do the background search with hours about boba.
Right.
But that's exactly what AI is. Like,
Mhm.
everything is AI.
Yep.
Even the
Everything.
predictive text that shows up on our phones when
Yep.
we're typing.
Yes.
That is AI. It just wasn't seen as
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
We've
Yes.
been using it all this time.
All
There's
the
no point in
time.
like being afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. Spot on. Okay. So let's think about this question. What's one moment from the pilot that made you realize, yeah, we're doing something great. This is the moment where I'm realizing, man, I'm glad to be a part of this learning and education using AI.
I think when the thing actually worked, when you put your first prompt in and it worked, and it was like, wait, did I just do that? So I like the first time when we had our meeting at that place where we went around, we like saw a problem and we were trying to solve it. That was so like a business case for me, like right out of MBA and stuff. It was like, oh wait, I know this. I can do this. This is fun.
Yeah.
But then it connected it to the real world, like real people. And we were going and asking them questions to solve it.
Yeah.
And then our prompt was not perfect, but it created something. We were immediately able to use it
Mm-hmm.
in the moment. In the space of like an hour and a half, we were already using AI.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that moment, like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You don't need days. You don't need so much training to do all this. You can do it now.
Yeah.
That was like the moment that was like, oh, we can do this.
Okay.
That is actually my same moment. That moment when we kind of came together and it was like we're solving a need, and it's like, okay, what need do you have for your classroom or just education as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one was when we had our first all summit network meeting,
Yeah.
and we went around to show the different teachers our bots that we built, just to kind of give them like, hey, would this be something that you would use in their classroom? And they were like, what, you built this? And like, yes, I would.
Yeah.
And so that reality of, hey, it does work, and people and teachers would use it. They didn't know that actually would be something that they can do for themselves.
Yeah.
And so that acknowledgement of it's an important piece. And the other thing was, it was 6 of us that day. And strangely, people think that it's the same. We all think alike.
Yeah.
But all of our
Exactly.
bots are totally
Totally
different.
different.
Every
Imagine.
single last one is totally different.
Yeah.
I can never
And so that
imagine,
was
like, what he
amazing.
created.
Yeah.
I couldn't create what he created.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, where did this even come from? So like
Right.
the way we're learning from each other, like we
Right.
were talking about how we're all from different like districts all together.
Yes.
Like every person in the world is capable of creating their own little AI.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
it's not in the classroom. Maybe it can be your personal assistant.
Sure.
Like it can teach you stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
And
Like,
it's not
teach me
taken away.
Chinese. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
not taken away from what I'm doing, what you're doing, Jazz, what you're
Mhm.
doing. It's like we all, so it's like human nature. We all have different ideas and different things we want to do things.
Yes.
It's that saying that I tell you something, and by the time the 100th person
Yeah.
hears it,
Yeah.
it's something totally different.
totally different.
And so we're putting our own thoughts and personalities and our own experiences into what we're building,
Yeah.
which makes it unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the moment is every single time that we do come together and I hear the excitement and I see the joy and the light bulb moments and the ahas and what your students are now doing with it. For me, those are always the moments of, oh yeah, we're
on the right track.
We're on the right
this
track.
is worth it.
Yeah, this is worth it. Because I think about just what I mentioned earlier, the future of work, right? And we now are on this equal playing field where we can be the creators
Right.
of what we want instead of it being placed on us.
Yeah, it's not placed on us. Like
Yeah.
people, there's like, that's another idea, right? AI is coming on top of us. AI is not coming on top of you
Yeah.
unless you really are like some kind of bottom rung person who doesn't have any like thought of their own.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that idea needs to be behind us. Like we are not there.
Mhm.
Humanity needs to improve. So it's like you're here. It's like you're the puppeteer and that's the
Mhm.
puppet.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
Mhm.
make it dance for your audience. How you make it dance is dependent on the audience.
Right.
Yes.
But like you're the one controlling it.
Yeah.
So
And think about, typically educators don't have that role or position,
No,
right? We're
no.
given a curriculum,
yeah.
we're given lesson plans,
Mhm.
thankful for it, right? Because that is a skill in of its own to be able to
Right.
write curriculum, write lessons. But being able now to have something that we
Mhm.
can utilize, that we have our own innovations built into,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
I think about my time in the classroom. I never had that, but I would always think about, you know what? If I had such and such skills, or if I had such and such amount of money, I would build this tool.
Yeah.
And
Right.
now is the time
Yeah.
that we have
Yeah,
that ability
exactly.
to do that, right? And we don't have to wait.
Right.
So I would say those are the moments for me where I get to see you all
Mhm.
really tap into something that is hard on the front end, as far as like being able to get comfortable with using it, feeling confident in using it, but easy at the same time, because once you really just get going,
It's rewarding. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
hits really
very
fast. The
rewarding.
Yes.
adrenaline, like it happened. Like we can make it
yeah,
instead of
Yeah.
being like afraid of it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, and
I
I
love
keep
that.
saying the word afraid because that's just what I'm getting from like a lot of teachers.
Mhm,
And a lot
mhm.
of them are like, we're using so many different platforms in school. Like,
Yeah.
no, I already this, that, whatever. But it's like people aren't able to use all the data to help their students.
Mhm,
We're getting all the data, but we're not using it.
Yeah.
AI can also help us crunch that data.
mhm.
Cause like, and also it puts us as like you guys are so smart, but if I'm wasting 6 hours of your daily life
Yeah.
Mhm.
in doing grunt work,
Mhm.
then you're just another grunt person.
Yeah.
But then I'm wasting potential. So
Mhm.
it's for us to use our potential to make them more potent, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It
Yeah.
does. So where do we go from here? Right? You guys are about to go into year 2 of your teaching. What do you want to be true as you transition to your second year, where you're going to continue using AI? What do you want to be true?
Just that it's even though it's advancing, there's still that human quality to it.
Mm.
No matter what happens. And we were talking about like curriculum based and all of that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of curriculums where you feel like you have no autonomy,
Mhm.
but in AI, there is some autonomy to it.
Yeah.
Like you have the structure of, okay, this is the lesson plan, this is the lesson, this is who we're using,
Mhm.
but you can still put your own thing
Yeah.
into it to,
Yeah.
to help.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, it's about building for the student.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so for me, looking at year 2, depending on, next year it may be different. I
Yeah.
have this vast of emerging bilingual students,
Yeah.
but next year it may be another set of students that I'm going to get.
Sure.
And so the challenge is, hey, how can Professor Historia change in a sense to help the next set of students that I'm going to get generation over time? So it's the same app, the
Yes.
same bot, but
Yes.
you can change it. It's
Yeah.
constantly, you're just adding to it.
Yeah.
And so the more different type of style students I have, the
Mhm.
better Professor Story is going to be.
Love that.
Oh, I love that.
Love
That's
that.
basically adapting to your user, like all the
Mhm.
big companies.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
is different, unique. You have to do it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
feel like there's so many parallels with, I mean, my brain's obviously thinking because I've been trained to think like that.
Yeah.
But it's also like you can apply it here, in a traditional
Mhm.
kind of like, oh, this
Mhm.
is one of the most traditional, the oldest professions.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's not old. It's constantly evolving.
Mhm.
Every class is different. Every day is different.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we can make that happen. And then the other piece is like, I also want to focus, like going into the second year, I want to focus on giving this generation that cares a lot about tech,
Mhm.
the rewards. Like,
Mm.
a small group, you pass your exit ticket, you get to be on this little game over here.
Yeah.
And then subtly built in the whole thing, like they're doing Romeo and Juliet. It's going to be about Romeo and Juliet.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
don't know
Yes.
that I'm teaching them something,
Right.
Mhm.
but they're going to take it as a game, but they're still going to know, oh, it was Mercutio who dies.
Yeah.
It's not this guy who dies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like you can trick them because you're still the adult in the room.
Right.
Yeah.
But
right.
they don't know they're being tricked into learning. You just
Mhm.
make it more fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like with our curriculum, sometimes when you look at the data and, your seed data, for example,
Yeah.
it was like, we're not making our classrooms fun. But like as
Mhm.
first years, I felt like we had that restriction because we were just going by the book because we
Mhm.
didn't know what else, right?
Yeah.
But now that we do know, if we
Mhm.
continue the same subject, I want to be able to build in that flexibility. Like, I'm going to teach you this skill, like
Mhm.
in the first month, like you
Yes.
watch. You're not
Yes.
going to know, you learned
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But that's what we can use our AI for.
Yeah. I love that.
And I didn't even think about that, making it, because I'm so, Again, a difference between a generation, but you saying that, making it more fun. And this year it was about, okay, this is my first year. I got to absorb all of this stuff. And since you're new, you're following everything that's happening. But coming into year 2, I can take that same information and how can I change the dynamic for my students to really learn and really understand that? So I'm going to implement some of them games too.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I feel like that might be where, how we see those videos of those amazing teachers, right? How they have their own classroom running their own way. Maybe that's where it comes in. Like, I don't know if that's any research has been done on this, but maybe first year teachers aren't able to put their own personality into it. But like, we're like fun loving, right? I see Langston is like really mature and like he's like really serious. But I feel like he would be like so on point, even though I've not been in a classroom. I'm more like fun loving, like, all right, you want to talk about Goop? Let's go talk about Goop. Like, talk with them. So I feel like we can now finally begin to express who we are and then make it fun in the same sense.
Yeah.
Like, these kids might get to know us too.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're going from just users to now creators.
For sure.
Right. Because you get to build in that detail. You get to build in that fun that you both hit on. Yeah. Yeah.
I could like
have that identity to it.
Like, even with like, you have Alexa, right? I program my Alexa to say, like, if somebody tells her to shut up. Yeah. Right. It will say, like, I'm going to complain to Asta. And then when it did that in the household, they were like, what did you do? I was like, I programmed it to do that. So it's like, you can build in those little quirky moments with your students too. And they're going to appreciate it because, again, they're like, did you build this for us?
Right.
You know me. Why is my name showing up? It knows it's me. Yeah. It's like, they don't need to know behind the scenes every single time.
Yeah. I think an extension of what you're naming too is, while you're having AI as a tool, a supportive method, I think it's also to show your students are invested in what it is that you're building, which I am a firm believer in. When students have fun with the learning, when they see you are invested, they're going to take that learning beyond the classroom, right? And then that's when they're going to go and share with their communities, with their families. So I'd love for in year 2 for it to have a community impact, right? And you really being able to see your work scale, right? Because you go from you learning it, part 1, to teaching your students how to use it, to now your students being the teacher, right? It goes back to that.
Going back to their house and maybe going like, I know, I'm in 8th grade.
Yes.
Dude, you're my brother. You're in like 11th grade. You don't know how to do this. Let me teach it to you.
Exactly.
They're going to get that little hit, but at the same time, it's like our teachers, our principals, our students. Yes. And we just kind of like spread it out. That ease that we're kind of like experiencing.
Yes. And that's what I would hope for in year 2, right? Because now you're getting to add more layers to it. And now you're coming in with even more experience than you had in your first year.
Yeah.
So,
and we tested it out on our little guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, to me, what learning should be, right? It should be, I'm understanding it for myself so that I can teach it. But ultimately, you'll know if it's working if the learners in your classroom are able to teach it.
Right.
Like, we have our tutorials, like some of the kids, we tell them like, the biggest thing is that the person who's teaching is the one who's going to be learning the most. Yeah. So that's their incentive. They're not getting anything, but they're helping, like right before algebra and stuff. They're like, oh, let me check your answer. And the kids love that. Yes. That autonomy that you're giving, because 8th grade, I've learned you can't give them too much autonomy. But at the same time, I've learned that this is the kind of thing you can give it. So if you have a tool, it controls it, but at the same time, it's giving them the power to feel like I did something cool today in class.
Very true. So let's get ready to wrap up. And we'll leave with just some words of wisdom like we did last time. But some of the things that we've experienced both in episode 1 and episode 2 is that AI created an opportunity for you. Students experience stronger learning.
Yes.
And you had fun.
Yes.
Okay. What do you want now as we close, just to end with, as a word of wisdom, this is what I just loved about this experience? I'm going to give you the floor just to kind of say some parting words with what you want to say about our year of learning.
I would say challenge accepted. Kind of like, like mission accepted, quest on. Like, throw it at me. Like, we're humans. We're going to adapt. Like, we're not, I'm here. I'm not like about to disappear somewhere, hopefully. But like, bring it on. Like, we're going to deal with it.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Love that.
I think it's growth. The word that comes to mind for me is growth. Like no matter what you're doing, you're still growing, and we're learning every day. Even as adults, we have our students, but we're still learning.
Yes.
And I think just taking on the challenge of this whole year when you first presented it, and we're coming in not knowing anything, and it's just like, how can we really take AI? How can we take a system or a tool and really build it?
Yes.
And so the course of this last year with us coming together, bouncing ideas, it's just growth, because every day, like I just learned something new today.
Exactly.
So it's just every time we sit down and come to the table, we're all learning and we're all growing.
Yeah.
And we're learning how to use AI to do it and to not shy away from it. There's no fear in it. Again, it's still, without the human, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it, like, electric cars, people are afraid that this thing can't self-drive. But I'm driving a self-driving electric car.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
No,
So
I'm
it's
not
like,
going to drive
I'm not-
I'm not going to drive the
But
car.
that's what it is, right?
And
He
I'm not
hasn't
going to
driven
get
in my car.
I'm
You
not,
need to sit in my car
and I'm not going to get in the
how
box.
good it is.
No,
Like that, I draw the line.
I need to see where the gaps are, right? Sometimes it'll be like, just take you by the route. I'm like, let's go this way. But
There's
that's
still a
what
level
it is.
of control you still have. Yeah.
But that's what it is, right? Like your puppies, you know? Like your puppies are like, I'm going to smell this. No, we're going in this direction, right?
Yeah.
But the puppy is like going to do whatever, but you're still in that control. Like you have the leash.
Yeah.
Because you know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
we saying I still like, okay, you keep driving that car.
I'm sorry. I also like tell my students sometimes, like, you guys are like puppies, because it's like they're not like babies, but at the same time, you know.
Right.
But like, you need to sit in my car.
But then it's challenging, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about AI in
Exactly.
education. The
Exactly.
teachers are afraid to
Yes.
utilize
Yes.
it, and we're sitting here like,
doing the
I
same
don't know
thing.
about that car.
But you know what? I did get in a Waymo. So I've tested. I've been in a Waymo before, which I'm not mad at. But could I do it every day? No.
You know,
So it's baby steps. Not right now.
Drive the car. I am telling you, it's a lifesaver. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm telling you.
okay, so I'm gonna say game on maybe this summer.
There you go.
I may,
Challenge accepted.
Gotcha.
challenge accepted. This summer I may like rent one for a day.
Yeah. Okay.
And see. And
Okay.
we the next podcast.
Then we're gonna
y'all
say
can
that's
ask
how we
me-
open, right?
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
time
Y'all
we're
can ask me
together,
how.
I take you guys for a ride
me how
around
it
the
There you
block.
go. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe we just hop in your car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then that's what it is, right? Even in the real time,
You're right.
we don't see what we are stopping ourselves from doing.
Thanks.
But at the same time, somebody else might be doing it, and we think that that's not possible. But
Yeah.
I guess we just need to try.
Yeah.
Just like try it. Just
Yep.
try it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say is kind of my parting word. Try it. I love growth. I love challenge accepted. And year 2, here we come.
Yes.
Yes.
Year 2, here we come.
The
Well, I
kids
wanna-
will not know what hit them.
Nope. They're going to come back and y'all be even stronger. Well, I want to thank y'all both for joining in on episode 2. You've brought some really great information to our listeners, and I can't wait to see what year 2 is going to continue to bring. So thank you for being here, and to everyone listening, we look forward to next year giving you some extra information about AI and how we're using it in the classroom. I'm your host, Jasmine Fusilier-Jeffries, and we hope you have a great end to your school year. And this was Unlearning, using AI to solve school-based problems. Peace.